All right, and we are live en vivo for the first episode of the Bad Batch Breakdown with Brandon and Bailey. Speaking of which, Brandon, Bailey, let's get into this. All right, it's good to have you guys. It's good to see you. Bailey, how are you doing?
I'm so excited. I get to talk about Star Wars. I mean, anytime I get to talk about Star Wars, it's always a good time.
That is a beautiful thing. You're a hard woman to please, and that's why we're friends, because I don't have any skills or abilities. So, Brandon, how about you, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great.
Okay. Just here to talk about some Star Wars and watch me make a fool of myself again?
Oh, yeah. Every time.
All right, good. Well, as I mentioned in my hyperactive intro, this is the Bad Batch Breakdown with Brandon and Bailey, or Bailey and Brandon, depending on which is your favorite. And it's hosted here on Paul's Collectibles. We talked about this on Apprentice Ewok Brandon's live stream probably about a week ago now. We went over a lot of stuff, but this is the official start of the show. And I can't begin to tell you guys how excited I am to have you on and to be talking about the show coming up. So we're going to start off by saying it looks like we've already got a couple of people in. Six people found my channel and are watching. Can you believe that, Brandon and Bailey? But we got
wildfire. So
nice. We got Smuggler's Canyon, Christian. I got to hit the hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Christian's good people. We got going down the same line. We got Chris. We got Christian. We got Chris. We got Blue X. Good to see you, man. We got Warner Benjamin. What's good, Miss Taylor? Oh, got a fan already.
Hi, kiddo. A former student of mine. Hi.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome, Warner. It's good to have you. I'm really excited that you're here. Thank you so much. So, guys, I vote we kind of just get right into it. We promised in Brandon's live stream that we would go over the ending season of the Clone Wars. And I'd like to talk about the Bad Batch because the theory behind this show is there are a lot of casual to semi-casual to people who aren't even really sure Star Wars fans out there. And I want to be the show for those people. We're not going to just come into this and assume everybody is like the three of us and has just been studying and paying attention. And so we're just going to kind of hit bare bones and talk about what the Bad Batch is and the characters and stuff like that, and give people kind of a primer so that they kind of know what they're getting into when they decide whether or not they want to look at the show. What do you guys think about that?
Perfect.
All right. Well, we're just going to hit that right now. So there we go. That is, so the Bad Batch was introduced in Clone Wars Season 7, the first 4 episodes. And then the last few episodes will be slightly relevant to what we're talking about. But Brandon, we're going to start off with you because you're usually the quiet, dignified one. And then we'll let Bailey come in there for the killer punch when you're wrong about something. Brandon, can you give us an idea of who the Bad Batch is just as a group? We're going to go over the specific characters later. What was kind of going on in Clone Wars Season 7 as a primer to what we're seeing next?
So they bring in the experimental clone force, and it's clones that have certain mutations or skills, abilities that are not typical. And, and they...
Don't die.
Yeah.
And, we need you.
and I mean, one of the best ways I've seen it described, and it's a funny way, is space A-team. So you've got the different characters that fit different tropes. You've got the clear leader, and then you've got people who have different abilities. There's the big muscly one, there's the smart one, there's the sniper. But they're brought in when missions are tricky. So they're brought in Season 7 to help with a certain situation. And we really get to see them help where the normal clones are like, this is super unorthodox. And I think it's just when I first started watching, I didn't think it was absolutely necessary, but then I was like, you know what, it's fun. So that's
your overall take. Bailey, so I know you have an opinion about them overall, and I saw you doing your eye thing a second ago. Why don't you kind of expand on what Brandon said and give us an idea of what those clones, where they came from, who they answer to, what their purpose is and stuff like that.
Oh, man. Let me just say, Brandon, I don't think you could have explained it better than I could, because let me tell you, I'm so sorry, guys, but those episodes they were in were so forgettable for me. So I had to do a little bit of research before going into this, and I just hope that the show does a really good job of explaining who these people are and why they are deserving of their own show. Clearly, I'm the best one to do this job. So these guys are basically, they have a mind of their own. The clone troopers in the Clone Wars are supposed to be completely subservient to the Jedi or the Grand Army of the Republic, but turns out it's actually Palpatine the whole time. But these guys don't answer to anybody, and that's the issue going into the show. Is now that we have the Empire and these clone troopers are becoming stormtroopers, these guys aren't, to them it's no different, Republic or not. They just kind of want to do their own thing. They have their own beliefs, and they just kind of want to live their own lives. And as we've seen in the previews, Tarkin is like, yeah, we got to get rid of these guys, because if they're not going to answer to us, then they're probably going to cause us problems. Just like, why it's so important for them to find any surviving Jedi and whatnot. They don't want anyone going against the Empire. So that's pretty much who they are at this point. They're just kind of the last of the clones produced with Jango Fett's DNA. And they really don't really care about the Empire, or at least that's what it seems like, is they just could care less about what's going on. They just want to be left alone. And I don't think they have the brain chips. So if you don't know, all the clone troopers have a chip in their brain that when they heard Order 66, that's what caused them to gun down the Jedi and listen to Palpatine. So I don't think these guys have that. And that's so they don't have personal connections to the Jedi or anyone pertaining to the Republic. So they're just a unique set of people, and it looks like they're on the run from the Empire.
Okay. So they were in, correct me, the first 4 episodes of season 7. Is that correct, guys?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did they show up in any of the other episodes after those last 4?
No.
Okay. Brandon, can you give us a little bit of a rundown on maybe some of the missions they were sending them on that would be too hard for clones? Because for someone like me who collects the helmets and stuff like that, there's a lot of specialized clones. There was ARC troopers and this kind of trooper and that trooper and guys with cool flashes. Why at this time did we need these 4 guys in this gray and black armor? Or do you know why? Can you have some speculation on that?
Yeah. So at this point in the Clone Wars, it's getting pretty rough, and it's right towards the end that things are starting to line up, and Captain Rex and Clone Commander Cody are trying to figure out how the Separatists are, beating them at their own game, and they're starting to notice some strategies, and they actually think that one of the clones that had thought to have died, Echo, they think that he might be behind this, that they're using him in some way. So they bring in this special task force because they're like, we don't know if we can handle this. We need a special kind of flair to get this done. What we have isn't enough. We need an outside perspective to come in. And then the Bad Batch comes in their shuttle, just crashing towards the ship landing, and out of nowhere. It is really jarring, and I didn't realize how jarring it was until Bailey said it, and then I rewatched it. Right? And Rex and Cody are like, yeah, they're the experimental clone force 99, and they're like, oh, nice touch, and then they just show up. They're not like, yeah, this is where we know them from. They're like, yep, they have a 100% success rate. they're totally OP and they're here to help us. And it's like, whoa, okay.
I speak video game. I know what that means.
Yeah. So they show up and they introduce them, and it's, it's the super cheesy, like each one, they walk off the ship and they introduce each one as it goes. And yeah.
If you can find them and you have the money, you can hire Clone Force 99, right? So yeah. I wanted to jump back to Bailey real fast here. Bailey, we've talked about this really, really fast. I got to say hi to some chat legends here. We got Josh Anderson's in the house. Look at that, you guys. Josh, good to see you. One of the best looking guys on the internet, if I may say so. Beautiful hair. When you get older, Brandon, you know what I'm talking about. We also got Gilster. Gilster, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Yeah. Uh-huh. I wear a baseball cap on this camera for a reason, because I don't want it to autofocus up here instead of on my face. So. But Gilster, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Gilster. Josh, always a pleasure. But Bailey, in a previous conversation, actually 2 conversations, you had mentioned that these guys, and Brandon kind of touched on it, they just show the out of nowhere, and they're like, we don't answer to anybody. What's going on with that?
I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I had an answer, and that's why in the previous show I said that I'm a little nervous going into the show, because Filoni frightens me with his choices. And when we say jarring, Brandon's not kidding, guys. Like, these guys show up out of nowhere, and it's kind of like you're expected to know who they are. Like, they speak to these guys like it's not like who are these people? They're just like, oh, yep, we're gonna call these people in, and we're gonna do the thing. And you're just expected to just accept it and go along with the ride, which, as someone who thinks like a writer, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But that's why I'm saying, I really hope this show does a better job of giving these guys more of a backstory and personality, because these guys know how I feel about trope characters. I don't like it. I like characters with a personality. I don't want their personality to be their literal name. I think one of them is literally tech, and it's like, oh yeah, that's the nerd, and I'm pretty sure that's who he's gonna be. And then we have Crosshair, and he's the sniper. And then we have Wrecker, my favorite of all the tropes. Okay.
We'll get there, Bailey, I promise.
Just I'm gonna wreck things, and it's like, oh.
That's so. Speaking of the devil, that's the next topic. Don't jump in it. So to get back to what was I doing here? Let's get it. So this is my first time doing this. I'm doing okay. Anyway, to get back to it. So that's kind of how they show up. And I went back and watched the episode again, and I was a little shocked, because they say they don't answer to anybody, and they show up out of nowhere. There's no backstory, and everybody's just cool with this. All right, cool, sounds good. Let's go with these guys. The people, like you said, Billy, the people to do the thing with the thing, and we'll go. Yeah. So that's not how books are written. So I get it. They were jammed for time, and they were probably competing interests. So, but let's fast forward. Right. Let's fast forward. Oh, Bailey, you got a question here. What kind of character are those?
Trope characters. That probably should be a shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bailey does requests. No. Like regular requests.
This is when you think about, this was our first introduction back into the Clone Wars, and for that to be they just go out the gate like that, it's like, oh, whoa, excuse you, it's been a minute, and you're just throwing new stuff at us. It's like, see, I'm scared.
So the term I like to use, and forgive me because this is an adult-oriented show, is they just pimped up in there. That was it. So, oh, hey, how's it going? So. Nice. So part of this first topic is so we're going to move away slightly from the Bad Batch, because we need to bring Clone Wars season 7 into the Bad Batch cartoon. And most people kind of know how Revenge of the Sith started and things like that, and the Rise of the Empire, but maybe a lot of people didn't catch the end of the Clone Wars. So if we could just briefly rehash some of Ahsoka getting back involved, and where those orange faced clone troopers and stuff came from. And Brandon, if you could speak to that, I'll let you go first on this and give us an idea of what happened towards the end there.
So shortly before Revenge of the Sith starts is when this takes place. The Siege of Mandalore ends up being the last arc of the season. The middle season is about Ahsoka.
No.
No, thank you. It should have been about Ahsoka. The focus got away from Ahsoka a little bit.
Right, yeah.
A little bit, yep. But we see Ahsoka after she has been, she leaves the Jedi Order, and she's just kind of trying to stay out of the way of things, and then she gets tied up in. We don't even need to talk about it, really. There's some of the crime syndicate stuff that she gets involved with, and Bo-Katan makes an appearance from the Clone Wars. That's really like the cliff notes that you need to know from those middle those middle arcs. And that was 4 episodes.
4 episodes on this.
Okay, hey you guys, I'm not sure what's going on here, but the chat just lost its mind. What the heck is going on here all of a sudden? I lost control. What?
Yeah.
Sleeping. Hold on.
Sleeping.
What is this?
Sleeping collectibles.
I'm just gonna G-Force, Mike, Downfall. These are all names I've heard. But look, Josh is in on it. What the heck is going on? What happened all of a sudden?
It's what we call a channel raid.
A what? A what?
A channel raid. A channel raid.
You young people and your crazy stuff. Is it? Thank you. Easy Space Sponge. We're gonna take a minute and go through a lot of these Trailer Park Cinderella. There's the Gupta. Dean Birch. Oh, this is awesome. You guys ready for this? Trailer Park Cinderella. We got rated, Paul. Yeah, apparently, I've never heard of this before. No spamming, but that's all good, Blue. I appreciate that, brother, but it's all good. They're just trying to show some love. And because I'm old and stupid, I didn't realize the viewership shot up all of a sudden. The comments started losing their minds. I was like, I'm not ready for this, man. I don't know what I'm doing. Chadtastic, thanks, man. Oh my God, what is this? There we go. Mr. Rez, like a flash dance. Hold on, they're going so fast. Thanks, Sleeping. I can't even keep up. Thanks, Sleeping. I really appreciate it, man. That was very nice of you. There's David Newcomb. What's up right now is the old guy is falling behind on StreamYard. Oh, there's Dean and Birch. New love tonight. 2570. That's a cool name. 2517 kill. Sleeping Collectibles loves you. Love it. Dean, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Space Buns, you're the bomb. Space Buns is the better half of Sleeping. Am I correct? Isn't that right? Yep. Yeah. I've seen her wandering around in the background of his videos sometimes. UG Crowns showed up. Sorry, you guys, I lost control for a second. I was like, wait, what the heck? Because the chat's been going dot. And then all of a sudden it was like dot. I'm like, oh, did I mess something up?
It's because our energy went up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Enable slow mode if chat is moving fast. I see it's going so fast I can't keep up now. There we go. Hey, Blue X, I appreciate that. I'm gonna give this a shot and see what happens. Oh my God, Josh D. We're gonna have to take a break here. I really appreciate everybody who decided much. So thanks, G-Force. Oh, Sleeping Collectibles loves you. Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate that. There's Chris. I liked those episodes. Oh, we're gonna talk about Bad Batch again. Odd. I got to woost. Hold on.
Yeah.
2 second break here, guys. Don't worry, Brandon. It's only water.
Yep. Mine too.
Rum has water in it. Oh. But yeah, and Chris, I'm gonna kind of put that comment on the back burner because I think Bailey and probably Brandon and I agree on that as well. The background characters need some more love, and Bailey constantly, if you listen to anything she has to say, is like, why are we? No offense to the New Republic or Older Republic, why are we going 10,000 years back when we have all this right here? So, thank you so much, Space Buns. I appreciate that, Michael. It's going to be based on book Republic Commanders, or I'm thinking something else. But I don't think the Republic Commandos, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it has anything to do with the Bad Batch at all, right?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Yeah. So, Michael, you're thinking something else. These are brand new characters that apparently we haven't, what's the word I'm looking for? We haven't emphasized enough. Literally, they dropped out of nowhere and they're like, here's these guys. It's not Order 66. It's Clone Force 99. What? And they thought that was cute. And so, yeah, that's why it's a little confusing. There's Garrett. Garrett, thank you very much, sir. Good Lord. Nathan, hello, everybody loves you, but don't be afraid. I love you too, Nathan. I'm not afraid at all. The Goopa, hydration. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. David, yes, this is our first episode. This is a primer, and since we're taking a break here, we'll go back. We're going to be doing these every Saturday from here on out until the Bad Batch series ends. Saturdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, because unlike Brandon, I can remember the time zones on my stream. Love you, babe. Dude, it was excruciating when you were giving them out there, like,
Yeah.
Pacific. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, spit it out. Oh, yeah. See, Blue knows me. He knows. It's only water, bro. Don't worry about it. Gary, you didn't miss much. We just started wrapping up where they came from, and then apparently Sleeping Collectibles sent 80 people over here to spam my stream and to give us some support, and it was awesome. So I found behind. No problem, Michael. So I see those. This is a good example, and Michael's a big fan of mine, and I love me some Michael Henderson. He's been there since the days where I was doing this with my cell phone. He's like me, though. He doesn't know a lot about this, so that's why I wanted to keep this at that lower level Star Wars fan type of thing. And then low blow. Yeah. All righty. So, thank you, Space Buns. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's really nice. So where Brandon, you had just kind of given an overview, right? Am I correct? Do I remember correctly?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was talking about Ahsoka, and so they find out that Maul is taking these crime syndicates, and he's trying to take over Mandalore, or he has like control of Mandalore, and Obi-Wan and Anakin try to go to the Jedi, and they're like, "Hey, like."
That's
an inside joke with Bailey's family, Brandon. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Okay. But they go to the Jedi to talk about Mandalore, and Bo-Katan is there with Ahsoka, and there's a really touching reunion between Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka and Rex and the troopers, and they have painted their helmets to look like Ahsoka's face markings. So she is actually given command of the 332nd Clone Battalion, because the Jedi won't allow Obi-Wan and Anakin to take a battalion to Mandalore when the rest of the Clone Wars is going on, because it's not related to the Clone Wars. So That's where Ahsoka comes in after she's been expelled. Anakin gives her new lightsabers. She has, the awesome confrontation with Maul, and it really is pressed right up against the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And Bailey, let me get you back over here. Bailey, what happened that Ahsoka, I don't understand. Why did they have to give her long back in reunion? Wasn't she in the Jedi Order?
No. So long story short, Ahsoka got framed for a crime that she didn't commit. And without any evidence, unfortunately, with the stress of war and whatnot, the Jedi and, I guess I should say with the pressure from Palpatine and like Tarkin, the Jedi were kind of in a position where they had to expel Ahsoka from the Order. And then, in the end, she is proven innocent of this crime, and they offer her, we're sorry to put you through that, but you can come back. You can still be a Padawan, and you can still be a Jedi. And Ahsoka says, you know what? I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can be a Jedi. So, and even though Anakin tried his hardest to get her back, because if you don't know, Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan. She's like, you know what? I think I just need to figure out my place, because you got to keep in mind Ahsoka is about 16 years old at this time, and I'm sure being a child soldier is not easy. So she walks away, and and she's kind of at the start of this, she's trying to figure out her place in the galaxy. And so, as Brandon said, when she's coming back, and she gets kind of wrapped up in this Mandalore stuff that Darth Maul has taken control of that, she kind of sees an opportunity. She realizes that, you know what, when she's a Jedi, she can still help people. She can make a difference. Even if she doesn't necessarily agree what's going on, she could still be that hero. And just so you guys, and, as Brandon said, this is pushed up pretty close to Revenge of the Sith. The reason why Obi-Wan and Anakin couldn't go with Ahsoka is because they had to go rescue Palpatine from the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. So that's just how close it is. So that's why we don't see Ahsoka in Revenge of the Sith. That's why Obi-Wan and Anakin didn't go with her, because I'm sure if they could, they probably would. So she's not expelled from it. So she left the order, but Anakin still kept her Padawan lightsabers, and he fashioned them. They were green at first, but he fashioned them to be blue. And he's giving them to her, like he's taking care of them all this time. It's been about 6 months. So she's been away from the Jedi for 6 months. And Anakin, makes it to where Ahsoka can help Mandalore, gives her the lightsabers, and then they part ways. And that's what makes these last 4 episodes so tragic, is Ahsoka, knows, something's up with Anakin, and she suspects that things are taking a dark turn, and literally just in a span of 3 days, because I didn't know this either until recently. Revenge of the Sith takes place in a span of 3 to 4 days.
Oh.
She reunites with these people,
right?
With these people she sees to be her brothers, the clone troopers, these people she sees as parental figures, and just like that, everyone's dead. And the clones they're pointing the guns at her. So it is, I'm telling you guys, if anything, watch the last 4 episodes of season 7. They are the most beautiful. That should have been season 7 right there. It could have been a movie. It blends in with Revenge of the Sith perfectly, and it's just so tragic. It's beautifully tragic, and it really sets the stage for what's coming up next with this show, where we're finally seeing a story of, okay, what happened after the rise of the Empire, because we haven't seen that yet. And that's what's intriguing me into this show, is we're finally seeing the galaxy, the Empire really rise, because we don't see that in Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, that's why Ahsoka came to be. She was expelled. She left the order, but she came back, unfortunately, right when things were getting really bad, and here we are.
So the last thing that I want to touch on this before we get into that, I want to talk about the characters that we're getting, the 5. And either one of you can take this if you know the answer. Why is it so important for Ahsoka to come back and help Mandalore? Brandon, you haven't talked. Do you know that, or do you know why? Or
Bailey, do you want to go ahead?
I don't think there was Ahsoka didn't I think Ahsoka did it for herself more than anything, and I think they emphasize that because, as Brandon said, Mandalore they aren't involved with the Clone Wars. They've decided to be, taking a more pacifist role. So unfortunately, the reason why the Jedi couldn't help them is because, hey, we got all this other stuff going on. You're not involved. So I don't think there was Bo-Katan was actually pushing for Obi-Wan to show up to Mandalore. But, as we've said, they couldn't. They had to go rescue Palpatine. So I don't think Ahsoka had to. I think she wanted to for her own mental state. She's thinking you know what, I think I should be a Jedi again. I could do good. I'm going to do this. So I think she did it out of her own feelings. She put herself in that when she didn't have to.
Oh, okay. Because I remember in the episode, they didn't treat her poorly, but Mace Windu's like, this briefing's only for Jedi. And for her trouble, she nearly gets killed by her own clones. So I was just wondering, what would cause her to, that makes sense. She's still conflicted, maybe come back to the Jedi, maybe not. Mandalore, as I recall, wasn't hugely strategically significant and everything like that. So I was just wondering. All righty. Well, that makes sense. So, and then of course, anybody who watches that last season will see the overlap in Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars season 7. As a matter of fact, if you Google on YouTube, if you check YouTube, there are videos where people have kind of meshed them together. Have you guys seen those? They're kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move along here. We are going to talk about the characters themselves. And as a visual aid, assuming I don't mess this up. Oh, that's not right. We went all of us. There we go. Look at me. All right. So this, check it out. I know what I'm doing. This was the first poster that came out, and we talked about this before. But I just want to very briefly go over the tropes with you guys.
And then you're going to have to take the wheel on this one.
Okay. Perfect.
So obviously, we talked about this. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
No tropey McTrope.
Nope, I gotta stay classy, so you gotta do it.
Okay.
Tropey McTropenstein over here. Exactly right. So let's give people an overview, because we've said some names earlier, and Bailey alluded to the fact that they're pretty specific. Yeah, you know what I mean. Obviously up here we got some ships and stuff, and that's Emperor Palpatine. But let's start with Bailey's favorite character right here, Brandon. Yeah. Who is this guy, and what's his jam?
So this is this is Wrecker, and he wrecks stuff. He is the big Hulk smash Wrecker of the Space A-Team Avengers.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. In the first episode that they're in, shuttle kind of lands on Commander Cody, and they're like, there's no way he's going to be able to pull Cody out of there by himself. And they're like, no, he's going to pull the spaceship off of Cody. And that's his super strength appears to be his ability. He is very dull, and he's like he sounds like the Kool-Aid Man. and
he sounds like the Kool-Aid Man. That's awesome.
And don't get me wrong, I love these characters, and I think they're going to be fun. But they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Yep. So that is Kool-Aid Man, Hulk Smash, Wrecker.
All right, Kool-Aid Man. All right. Bailey, compose yourself over there if you don't mind. We're gonna. Who is this is my favorite trope here. This guy, because he's like, I'm so and so. Who's that, Bailey? What's his deal?
Crosshairs. And if you don't remember, you just got to look at I don't know if it's a tattoo or what he's got going on in his eye, but he's the sniper guy. So
wait, what? What? Are you serious? How can you tell?
He's the sniper guy, and by the look on his face, I'm willing to put money he might be. Well, I guess we'll talk theory later down the road, but
right.
I don't know if this guy would stick around. I don't know. He's got a mean look on his face. So, and since these characters are so obvious, I mean, I'm willing to put money that he might not be so good.
So if you've seen the commercial, Josh, hey Wrecker, yeah, instead of hey Kool-Aid Man. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's a 70s thing. Oh my God, he said, Josh, like
he stood up. Gray hairs.
Right. Yeah, they did. They just kind of Kool-Aided Man right into the episode. I love it. Josh says they look more like gray hairs to him. Yeah. Oh wait, sniper. Yeah, kills her for sure. Brandon, do you still have that thing handy you were showing me earlier? Do you mind popping that up there real quick? Or did you get rid of it?
No, it's right here. Yeah.
So why don't you show everybody? Brandon's got a practical visual aid for us. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot with that, B.
No, it's
Look
all
at
good.
that.
It's all good. He's
got the figure.
Oh geez, I don't want to rip his head off. So that's
don't do that. There you go.
And I'm not usually a person that's like, that's not realistic. This is one of the few times I've ever been like,
but
this sniper rifle, when it starts at his foot, it goes up to his shoulder when he's standing
Oh my
up straight.
God.
The figure cannot actually hold the rifle like a sniper rifle and have it go against the shoulder. But before I get angry like I did earlier,
I'm supposed to be the angry one.
yeah.
His face got red. He was like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid
So
Yeah.
the character designs are all pretty cool. Like the armor and everything, they've all got specific things that help them with their abilities. This is actually like a counterbalance to offset the weight of the sniper rifle, and he's they basically, when they introduce the character, they're like, Wrecker's the strong one. He's the one that can shoot 10 clicks away, I think is what they say. So yeah, sniper rifle.
Okay. So we've got what we call the brick in superhero terms. We've got the sniper. Let's move on to my favorite out of all these guys. Bailey, you're up. Who is this guy?
Rambo. No.
Yeah.
That's Hunter, and he's the leader because he wears a bandana. And I don't recall him having any specialties. Like, he's not the nerd or the sniper or anything, but I think he's just in charge. I think that's his ability. I'm in charge, and I wear skulls because I don't know, that's cool.
Brandon, what were you going to say?
I do. He does actually have a power, and they just briefly talk about it. He can actually sense electromagnetic pulses, which is why he can track stuff.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe if those episodes weren't so forgettable, I would remember that. So thanks for now.
I hope Dave Filoni is not watching this. All right, cool.
I have no problem if he watches this. I have some words.
Oh, there you go.
Space
See,
Rambo.
I didn't know you had Rambo figures. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this, I heard somebody say it. They like his helmet more than his face. So because he's got that tattoo. So yeah. But anyway,
his helmet is tattooed like his face is too.
Right. Yeah.
Painted.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So since we're continuing down the line of tropes,
Nerd.
Bailey, it's Brandon's turn. Brandon, who is this guy, and what is up with the spectacles and a helmet? That's as realistic as the sniper rifle.
This is Nerd, aka Tech.
Okay. Right.
They introduce him, and they're like, "Yeah, he's basically the nerdy one." And he's got capabilities with computers. He's super genius. That little helmet thing he's got folds down, and he can it's like a encyclopedia. So whatever it sees, it tells him about it. So there's a species that the Clone Force meets, and he's actually able to listen, and it tells him what the language is, and he's able to translate it. And it's just whoa. So he's the smart one, and basically he could do everything on his own. It looks like he's a capable soldier from what we see in everything, but when you're watching Star Wars and R2-D2 goes up against, he comes up and he's like, oh, he's got an attachment for that. And if they have a problem and it's technical related, he can fix it.
Got it. So he's like the robot of the group, and Jadion is having a blast with us here talking to. So Chris, in case anybody doesn't know, is Bailey's dad. So and Chris is my buddy, and we're both music nerds from the 80s. And so all of this ties together. Brandon, I'm sorry you got stuck in the middle of the Taylor family goings-ons here, both Taylors.
Oh, good.
Okay. And Bailey, I saved this guy for last, because this one would be most near and dear to your heart.
Mhm.
There was only 4 to begin with, and then this guy here, who is that? Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
So that's Echo, and he is actually not a part of the 99th batch. He is actually one of the original clone troopers that was believed to be dead. So he's more like a Captain Rex, Commander Cody, where he would most likely have that brain chip. He's supposed to be subservient, and I can't remember on the top of my head who took him, but he was captured by the Separatists, and he was believed to be dead. And in the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch actually find him, and he just tags along with them.
Okay. Yeah, because I'll weigh in on this one because I actually remember this episode pretty good. They plugged him into a computer and they were using him to analyze the Republic's battle plans, and thus they were starting to lose. And so one of the other clones, I think was it Cody? It was like, I think Echo's alive. And then that's when they call him Rex. That's what it was. Yep, yeah, thank Rex. You. And that's when we first see the Bad Batch, because they're heading to go on what is almost an unsanctioned mission, except for the Jedi know, to go get him back. And of course, he's all kinds of emotionally and, as you can see, physically scarred as a result of that, because he was basically plugged into a computer, hence the pallor of his skin and things like that. Does that sound about right, you guys?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And because he doesn't feel like he fits in with his former clones anymore, he decides to join this group of oddballs. Is that what happened? Does that sound about right?
Yeah. And
perfect.
His hand there is actually a scomp link. Which is the thing that R2-D2 uses to plug into the computer systems. So he uses that in one of the episodes. So he's actually, at this point, he's kind of like a cyborg. He can plug into the computer systems, and yeah.
Okay. I saw on one of the previews for this show, somebody's talking to him and they're like, "You're more machine than man now." And he's like, "I'm good with that." So did you guys see that one?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. All righty. So now we'll just do a quick go around, because there's so many other characters have been announced for this show. We've got Tarkin. We've got obviously the Emperor's in there. We've got Fennec Shand and stuff like that. Can Bailey, you want to give us kind of an overview of some of the other characters we can expect to see in this really, really fast, like that for sure?
Oh, yeah. So for starters, I think Ahsoka herself is going to appear in the first episode, because her voice actress kind of said that earlier today on social media. So she's going to show up for sure, which is, I'm all for it. Because when we see her last in Clone Wars, she's with Captain Rex, and that was the one clone trooper she saved from killing her. She got the brain chip from him. So Captain Rex for sure, she's going to be in it. Fennec Shand, like you said, and if you don't know, she was one of the bounty hunters from The Mandalorian. Right. She's with Boba Fett, and Tarkin, as you said. And if you're not, big geeks like us, Tarkin is the admiral that blows up Alderaan, Princess Leia's planet, in Episode 4. So. And he seems to be like the main antagonist from what we've seen. It's very unclear if we're going to see. I mean, we'll probably see Palpatine, but it's unclear if we're going to see Vader. And that's pretty much it for sure in terms of who we know besides these guys. But yeah, I'm super stoked to see any of these cameos that we're going to see.
Well, Josh is just blowing up the comments real fast. Brandon, why don't you weigh in on these? Vader? Do you think we'll see Vader?
I have seen Matt Lanter's name for the cast members, and what? Oh,
did you say who?
No, I was just like, oh, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
So, and it said. I don't know if it said Anakin or if it said Darth Vader, but it,
Yeah, they said Anakin. He would be coming back to voice Anakin in another animated series, and this could be that series. They weren't real specific. Okay, Ahsoka, you already touched on that one. Yep. Bailey, what do you think? Bail Organa, your namesake?
That would be cool to see. To see not only the start of the Empire, but the rebellion as well.
Yeah, because I've got Bailey Organa and the Brandalorian on this show because I'm so creative. Too soon? Okay. And then Brandon, maybe a young Leia. What do you think?
That's an interesting idea because it depends on where exactly this takes place in the time period. Because parts of it are going to take place. In the trailer we see right after Order 66 has taken place. There's the big announcement from the Emperor, and then we see a young Fennec Shan, quite a bit younger than what we see in The Mandalorian. It depends on how much of a time jump, but Leia would be very, very young.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean that we couldn't see a young Leia with Bail on some sort of mission, maybe even, because Bail is still a representative for Alderaan. So if he's meeting with Tarkin for any reason, you could have Tarkin, and that would be a really powerful thing because it's like Tarkin blows up that planet and kills them all. So if they have a moment with Tarkin, like discussing Alderaan or whatever with,
yeah, it makes it even more personal because now you know that those people are there for sure. Yep. So, man, Josh, we might have to have guests and maybe have Josh on one of these days because like maybe even some Rogue One characters, maybe Boba Fett, maybe Asajj Ventress, maybe Quinlan Vos, and all of these are possible. Chris throws something out there. Mon Mothma, that's a definite possibility. And I wanted to touch on something David asked us because that's what we're here all about. Who's the little kid on the poster? So I'm going to pull that back up. I keep doing it that way because I think I'm just fascinated with Bailey. There we go. So we'll zoom in on this. And which one of you wants to take this? Who is that guy or girl? We're not even sure.
That is Omega, and playing off of the Roman, right? Is it Roman or Greek?
Roman. They're Greek letters.
Greek letters. Omega meaning final or last. So there's tons of speculation of who this character is. We are still not certain. Just the way that the character is portrayed and voiced, they haven't made it clear whether that this character is going to
flail its arms around and be silent.
Male or female, we don't know.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because they are a clone, and it seems like this character is what is who the Bad Batch might end up protecting and keeping safe from the Empire, because I'm just the way that the cloning stuff goes. It seems like they're going to be very interested in this character.
Yeah,
just like all of us are.
Yeah, very true. Bailey, do you have something that you can add to that, or did Brandon sum it up?
No, he summed it up pretty well. And it will be interesting to see if she is female, if there was like any plans of continuing that cloning, but for a different purpose. So that will be interesting to see, who is this individual, what role does he or she play in this, and why the Bad Batch would have an interest in her, because as we've established earlier, they don't really answer to anybody. They do their own thing. So for them to take this child under their wing, it would be interesting to know why that would be.
Very, very good point. You know what? And I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the comments at all. Josh is just like, he's ready for this show. Maybe we'll see Kanan, maybe we'll see Maul, like we already saw Luke. So that's a positive. I mean, it's just, man, if a lot of that stuff came true, the problem is, correct me if I'm wrong, we still don't know how many episodes of this show there are going to be. Yeah. So unless they do like 20, 25 episodes, or there's more than one season, they're going to have a hard time jamming all those characters in a meaningful fashion. And I don't want it to just turn into a who's who of fan service completely, or as Bailey put it, what do you call it? The Scooby-Doo show or something. So,
right. Yeah. And I was going to put that in there too, is like, as much as I would love to see all these characters. I just think I think some of those characters, I don't think the Bad Batch would be like a good place to tell their story. Like so like Kanan, for example, I think he would be like his own, you know, they have a comic series on his journey post the Empire. So I just think with some of those characters, I think they need that. I would have a real hard time seeing why they would be in the show at all. Like, I'm a huge Barasafi fan, but I do not see that happening in this show, nor would I want to, because it wouldn't make sense. That would just be like a total monkey wrench. And we've talked about how these guys, to us, seemed like a monkey wrench in the Clone Wars. So
right.
It'd be great to see all these characters, but I think for a lot of them, that would need to be like its own thing, own story.
So it's safe to say that if we did see any or all of those characters, they'd really need to do it right. Otherwise, I'd just rather not have them. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Brandon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Salacious, I'm going to show this and then we'll move. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Brandon.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to show this. So Salacious and I seem to agree. I think I know what he's hinting at here. You guys know my theory. I think that's the last clone, and they realize that they've been able to manipulate something in it. Obviously, it's got blue eyes and blonde hair. I don't want to say it's Force sensitive because we don't want to go there, but it's got something special about it that causes the Bad Batch to go, we're not with the Empire anymore. We're going to save this kid and run it down. And that's a very good. He's got a good point. That's a good way to involve the audience on an emotional level. So I think something like that's going to happen.
What I was going to say is I went on IMDb and I looked, and D. Bradley Baker, who does the voices for all the clones, is listed for 14 episodes. And then let's see here. I saw one of the executive producers is listed for 14 episodes. So I'm guessing 14 episodes is the number that we'll get.
Okay. Wow. So, and these things are kind of long, at least the first few. So they might be able to shoehorn in a few people, but they're going to really need to be relevant to the plot. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think some people are going to be disappointed when they don't get their character, but I think overall it's better to not get them than to shoehorn them in and make it silly. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool. Well, let's move on, you guys. This will be pretty quick. We've kind of talked about this a lot, to be quite frank with you, but overall, as far as plot is concerned, and that's actually where I was going to bring up Omega, so we kind of hit it early. Let's talk about some of the stuff that we already know for sure, and a lot of it seems obvious to us, but it might not be obvious to obviously like people like Mike and stuff like that. Bailey, will you lead us off and tell us like the stuff, like the era and what's definitely going to happen and things of that nature?
Yeah. So this show, from what we've seen, this is going to take immediately after the events of episode 3. We are seeing the Empire rising to power. And we're seeing that transition from these clone troopers into becoming stormtroopers. And this Omega child seems to be the last of that cloning process. For what reason, we don't know yet. But all we know for sure from what we've seen is we've got these clones who would be considered, defective because they're not subservient at all. They, for whatever reason, are interested in this child because maybe that child is going to be used for nefarious purposes with the Empire, kind of like Baby Yoda Grogu in Mandalorian, where the only reason why he was so interested in that bounty is because he realized, wait a minute, they're going to kill this baby as we've seen cloning, we know Palpatine comes back later in the future for that purpose. And he's like, no. And then he kind of dedicates his life to protecting this child and bringing him to his kind, the Jedi. So I think it's going to follow along that, where these guys are going to figure out, like, wait, this Empire is actually like, they're evil and they're going to use this poor kid for something, and we're not going to let that happen. So we need to get out of here. We need to make ourselves scarce because they're not going to stop. Because knowing Tarkin, based on what we've seen he's pretty malicious, and I don't think they're going to stop hunting these people. So it's definitely, in that sense, it is going to be interesting to see how are these characters that are so tropey and so like they have a very distinct appearance. It would be very difficult for them to disguise themselves. It's not like you're a Jedi and you can just wear 100 ponchos and hoods and nobody's going to know who you are. These guys are they have a look, a voice.
Especially Kool-Aid Man. He's not going to be able to hide in a bar somewhere.
Yeah, how are you going to hide this guy? So I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
These guys are going to have a real hard time hiding.
Absolutely. Yep. Brandon, so you've been watching the stuff online and everything like that. What did Bailey miss anything? What are you seeing that we already know for sure is going to happen?
I think Bailey did a very good job of summing that up, and I think it's there are gonna be themes that are heavily weighed upon where they are gonna realize that like they just helped the Jedi rescue Echo. And we might see maybe a couple other missions where they've done something where it might have been closely related to the Jedi, and they're going to have that inner conflict of like, well, all of our brothers are transitioning over to this empire, and they're going to get sucked into it just because Tarkin is going to see them as a tool. Right. And then it's from the trailers, it's easy to see that they initially have this clone force set up, and they're like, yeah, we can use them. And then Tarkin at some point is going to be like, we can't use them because they're going to go against us. And that's where I'm seeing that it's going to, it's got to be Omega. There's a scene where they're running through the hallway, and the other characters and Omega are running, and in the trailer you see a vehicle blow up and then Fennec Shan lands. So I honestly think Tarkin is gonna. We might not see Ventress, but we will see some of those other bounty hunters. So I am leaning more and more closely to saying that we might see Fennec, Boba, Bosk, and Aura Singh.
Wow.
We might even see IG-88 at some point.
That would be cool. I'd like that.
If that lines up, because Tarkin, they made it seem like Darth Vader, when they have all those bounty hunters lined up, ready to go, that they've done jobs for Vader before where it's been, he can't track them down quite himself, so he gets these other bounty hunters to do it. And I think we'll get a couple scenes like that where Fennec Shan and Boba and some of those other bounty hunters are trying to go after the Clone Force.
Right.
And that's just because I kind of want to see that, but that's a good way of using those characters and not just having them as like a background, or like, the Rogue One scene where they're on Jeddah.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Evazan. Yeah.
Yes. Where it just kind of passes by. Like,
right. Fan service.
Yeah. So if they fit part of the story, and Tarkin is not afraid to go out and get help to do this, and he's also not afraid of he wasn't afraid of Vader in some of the Vader comics. He tasks Vader with hunting him down. Like, he's not one to shrink away from a challenge. And I think that's very interesting, because we're not going to see him let up, because he sees this as a threat. And this is going to be early on in the Empire. So he's going to have to move up the ranks to where we see him as Grand Moff, and, basically on a level, or even I say a little bit higher than Vader at the point in Star Wars.
Got it. Gary makes a good point here too. Funko releasing a whole series of bounty hunters. They're usually first to market with merch. So your theory about a team of bounty hunters, all which would be appropriate here, that might be a thing, Brandon. So yeah, I don't disagree with you. You touched on something that I wanted to go back to. I think it was when we were talking about this on your live stream, Brandon. I asked, do we have a canon reason for why Darth Vader looked at Boba Fett and said no disintegrations? And the more I thought about this, 40 years later, I figured out why. And I'm like, I know, because it was subtle when you first watched Empire Strikes Back, but when you go back and watch it a bunch of times, you realize what's going on. He needed Han Solo alive so he could torture him and send waves through the Force so Luke would come to him. That's why he needed him alive. I'm like, oh, it seems so obvious now. So, but yeah, I was so proud of myself. I'm like, I'm smart. I'm one of you. I know what I'm talking about. So we hit some predictions and stuff there. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about, and you can hit on as many of these as you want within reason or as little, but we pay attention to the internet and we watch YouTube, and holy goodness, we won't name any channels, but there are people out there that have decided they already know what's going to happen and what's going to go down, all the way through people. Yeah, Bailey knows what I'm talking about. All the way to people who are just throwing out a little nugget of what their theory is. Bailey, have you seen any of these theories that either absolutely drive you nuts or that you think might be plausible?
Yeah, I think the only theory that I've seen where I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen is the whole Barasafi being an Inquisitor or being like a threat to the Bad Batch, which to me, I don't even know why she would even be brought in to this show or to this conversation. So that's no, because the voice actress has said she's not involved in the show, but she was going to come back to Star Wars, but she's not going to be involved in the show. So that's a no. I don't think, and the reason why I have such a problem with that is I don't think this show is going to touch on the Force sensitivity or Jedi's not really touching the Sith. I wouldn't want it to, because like I said, I don't think this would be the place to do it. I think it should be, as Brandon said, if we're going to have cameos, it would make sense to have the bounty hunters, because that would be applicable to this show and to the plot, where I just, yeah, that's it. That's really the only like fan theory where I was like, I don't think so. Like, if we were going to touch on any of those stories, Kanan's story, Quinlan Voss, any of the surviving Jedi out there, even Ahsoka, I mean, I think she might just be one episode and done. It's just, this is not the show. This isn't the stage for that. So that's it. I haven't seen any other theories. I think the only theories I've seen is like who Omega is, or, what he or she may be. But that's it. And I'm a huge Jedi Space Wizards fan. So when I say no, like I mean it. Like this is not the place to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Brandon, I know you've been paying attention out there. What fan theories have you seen you either just want to shoot right down for sure, or that you believe might happen?
Well, I don't. There are things that I'm pretty certain won't happen. But they might just throw things out at us that we're not expecting. Right. And I think that they've done the typical marketing where they give you quite a bit to work with when it comes to the theories and everything. You can, even some, most movies now, you can watch the trailer and pretty much say, I have an idea where this is going. Like, yep. I know some people even avoid trailers because they don't want to even know, because they do paint a very clear picture of what's going to happen. And the whole Omega thing and who that character is, that is a big question mark. Some people have thought that looks like Palpatine with the blonde hair, the blue eyes, and but it seems weird to me that they would still call it Omega if it was still based off the DNA of Jango Fett. But it could be the Empire was tampering with things, and that's how the change happened. So, and I think something that's just kind of popped in my head is the clones. It's always been their brotherhood. They always talk about for our brothers and stuff like that. I've said it. One of my predictions is that Omega will be a female character, and all of a sudden they're going to have a sister to look after.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and then the other one is Commander Cody. He's going to be around during this, right? Revenge of the Sith. He was one of the probably the leading clone in all of the Republic Army. Like if you think about it, with all the work that he did with Obi-Wan, and he was one of the first people to get it was simultaneous, but from when they do it, it looks like he's one of the first people to get the call from Sidious. So I've seen things saying the all black trooper that we see in the trailer and that came out as a Black Series figure. I've seen rumors that Commander Cody is going to be one of those elite troopers. He might be the leader of those troopers that convince Crosshairs to stay on the Imperial side. So those are the kind of two that
So we actually have a fairly plausible theory and prediction in chat here. What do you guys think about that? What are the chances of that happening? Love it, this guy's. Thanks, man. But he actually followed up with, on a serious note, and maybe one of you guys can answer this because I'm not sure what he's talking about. Do you think they will run across Omega Squad or Delta Squad and Sergeant Cal Skirata? Bailey, Brandon, anybody know what that is? Or
I'm drawing a blank here. Brandon, help.
I am too.
Brandon's face lights up, and not because he's happy. That's because he just turned his screen.
Yeah. Delta Squad is the
commando guys,
like the Republic Commandos. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And I grew up reading those books, so I'm upset with myself that I didn't. And playing the Republic Commando game, it's just sometimes when you've got your brain set on certain things, you get stuck. No, I don't think they'll reintroduce those characters. And I think Star Wars is going to be kind of careful on what it is. Like I've heard some John from Super Awesome Geek Show, the Nile from the High Republic, totally different note. Darth Nihilus. And they're like, that is such a close name that there has to be inspiration. And I'm like, they might have it be like just a little mention, like they derive their name from a Dark Lord, they I don't think they'll touch Legends characters. I still don't think Disney and the people involved with Star Wars right now want to open any wounds on that stuff. So I don't see everything that they're doing right now is trying to. They're doing the new art covers for some of the Legends books, like the Heir to the Empire, one of the Darth Bane books, and Shatterpoint with Mace Windu. And I mean, just recently they started doing these comic Black Series, and they even have a section that says Legends on the back for the timeline. And I think that they're trying to be very concise with the message that they're sending about trying to respect those Legends characters, but at the same time keeping them separate.
Right.
So I don't think we'll see the Republic Commandos. And
I will tell you from a practical standpoint, Brandon, I agree with both of you on that, simply because there's been information going around lately. I don't know how old it is, but it's just popped up that Kathleen Kennedy was complaining that when they made the movies, they didn't have any back information to refer to, and there was nothing else to go on or any books, and that upset a lot of people. So I think they're just going to stay away from that whole topic in this thing, to be perfectly honest with you. We got a couple of new people in the stream, by the way. VI, he's been with me for a very long time. Good to see you. Vibalog Intenso. He's a Spanish YouTuber, so I watch his videos, and then consequently I get my commercials on YouTube in Spanish half the time. It's kind of funny. He wanted to know where we got the shirts from. These are the only 3 in existence, VI. I had them special made. A buddy of mine made them so that we could be a team. But I am looking at the possibility of getting a merch shop one of these days, and we'll look into that. So G-Force is back. There's this guy's, come on, Republic Commando books. Yeah. Brandon, I'm embarrassed.
It's been years.
Right. Yeah. It's been years. What for you? It was about 2 years ago? Just kidding, man. And then, that's right. So this guy says they never wrote the last book. This would be the perfect way to end it. And Sleeping agrees with him. Does that sound right to you, Brandon?
Yeah.
We'll be interested to see. So I try to avoid the fan theory channels as much as possible and stuff like that. So I was glad to hear your guys' take on that. And so I'm not too far off. Let's just my intention is just kind of go in this empty-headed and let them fill it with whatever they want to. As we've all learned, when the new movies come out, when the new cartoons come out, when the new animated series or the live TV shows come out, the predictions are usually way over here. And then Mandalorian's a good example. The first episode, who thought we were going to see a Yoda? Right? Who thought that? Nobody. That's you. So exactly.
Yep.
So I'd like to finish this up. You guys have kind of hit on it, but I'd like to get some, when we talked about this before, but some fairly broad-based and maybe a couple of specific predictions or things that you'd like to see happen or things that you would definitely not like to see happen. And when I say not like to see happen, the first person I think of is my good friend Bailey, because she's got plenty of things she'd like to not see happen. So yeah, no, I had to move her over there, Brandon. So Bailey, talk about some predictions, some stuff that you want to see maybe, and some stuff that you don't want to see, and then we'll kind of go back and forth.
I feel like the more we talk about this, I'm starting to think that this might follow the same line as The Mandalorian in terms of plot, and I think that would be fine. My only thing that I don't want to see is I don't want any what I would call filler episodes. Like, I want every episode to count. I want there to be a very clear, linear, if the whole show is going to be about protecting this child and or going to a certain destination, I think it should stay that way. And I think, as we've talked about the whole cameos, if they're going to bring back characters, they need to be applicable to the plot. I don't want, and I love The Mandalorian to death, but I don't want this to be like we'll help you out, but you got to do this side quest for us. And that becomes literally every single episode. I want it to be like cut and dry, and I think they would have the most success for it. And we talked about this a little bit with the last stream, is this, not a lot of people are aware of this show, even amongst Star Wars fans. So I think they need to keep it simple. I think that's what made The Mandalorian so popular with people, is it was very simple, cut and dry, easy to follow. They weren't really throwing anything that you would need to be, like you wouldn't have to read the hundreds of Legends books out there. People could follow it, and that was probably their introduction into Star Wars. That's what got them into it. So I want every episode to count. If we're going to have, a 70-minute premiere and we're going to have 14 episodes, I want to be at the edge of my seat. I want that excitement from, when The Mandalorian came out, I stayed away from social media and just so I can watch it. I want that excitement. I want my expectations, I want to be proven wrong. Their introduction into this universe wasn't the best executed in my opinion, but I want it to be easy to follow, exciting to see, action-packed. That's it.
Nice. That's
it. And I don't think that's and none of that is those aren't hard requests. So I just hope, Filoni doesn't throw anything that is gonna cause us to scratch our heads. So
not 4 episodes about 2 sisters who are running a crime syndicate out of a laundry is what you're saying.
No, please, God, no. Please.
Okay. So Brandon, you're going to go next, but really quick, we got a little story going on in chat here. Sleeping says, "Hey, can I hire the Bad Batch? I feel like my days would be much spicier with them on my side." Chris, today, still wanted by the Empire, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Bad Batch. Gary, I love it when a plan comes together. That's our viewers right there. I love it. That's our people. That's our people, you guys. I love it. Oh, Brandon. So, all right, man. What do you want to see? What do you not want to see? What are you looking forward to? What are you worried about?
in the stream where we did it all together, we talked about the prediction of how soon we would see a lightsaber, and I think we're going to get it very early on in some flashback stuff, but I honestly think we are going to stay away from a lot of the aspects of the Force, because at this time the Empire is actively trying to make it so that examples of the Force are being snuffed out. So we're not going to see, if Ashley Eckstein is involved as Ahsoka, I'm guessing it's going to be in some sort of a flashback. Mm-hmm. It's going to be maybe something with Rex. They might do something with a little bit of something with the clone stuff, but no sloppy
yes, that comment. No sloppiness.
And I feel like if they try to do too much with it because of this character Omega, they could make them Force sensitive. They could make it this kind of stuff. Hopefully they don't do that. I just think maybe they hint at that. And they just say like this clone holds the key to something that, somebody's looking for. Because I mean, at this point, people still don't know that, like Palpatine is a Sith Lord, and we're probably going to get scenes of, right after they do that big announcement where he talks about the Republic going to the Empire, like they have buckets of Jedi's lightsabers that they burn. And I think we're going to get some very powerful imagery, and I think we're going to have some very strong moments that we're not going to expect, because what most people are expecting is going to be the action, the tropes, that kind of stuff. And that's where I'm hoping is what we're going to see, is those extra moments that, Clone Wars came out and people thought it was going to be a kid's show, and then that the last 4 episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars is an emotional roller coaster. Like it's so enjoyable, and it's some of the best Star Wars that's come out in the past couple of years. And if they can put those resources into it, and clearly these, like, Filoni can make some amazing things happen, but at the same time, same thing with George Lucas, when there aren't people around to tell them no, or to say, maybe we could go something else, do something else with it.
Bailey agrees.
It can go over people's heads too quickly, and I think that's what they don't need to do with the show, because this is one of those shows that if they don't keep the reins on it, it could be too wild.
Yeah, because with animation, you can just do whatever you want almost. You're absolutely correct. So I just wanted to point out something in the comments here. I agree with Salacious. Hopefully we'll finally get to see a Force-sensitive monkey lizard that was a Jedi, but he was expelled because he was roaming the galaxy and too much of a ladies' man. That's what I'm looking forward to. How about you guys?
Absolutely.
Nice. Let me see.
Brandon, I could not applaud that last statement enough, because that was my first thought when this show was announced. I was like, oh God, this is Filoni's playground, and this could become very dangerous very fast. I think Star Wars is a universe that shouldn't be run by 1-2 people. The rule of 2 should not exist. I think you need to have people to rein it in and to be like, hey, dude, like, Filoni, can we chill with the wolves, man? Like, I swear to God, if I see a wolf in this show, I'm throwing in the towel.
You bring up wolves every time. I love it.
You know what's bad? If you Google his name, there is a question on there that says, is he a furry? And it's like, you need to chill, sir. That's why you need people to say, hey, don't do that.
Right. Just like we saw in The Mandalorian, where they were going to have somebody say McClunky, and the other one was like, no, we're not doing that, dude. Yes, no.
Don't do that.
Don't, please don't do that.
Not exist.
Right? Yeah, sleeping agrees with you, Bailey. Okay. It's like, what the? Oh man. The same storyline would be a bad move just to be safe, knowing that it worked well for the Mandalorian. Agree. I call it the quest for quest, or it's like a video game plot. If you've ever played a video game, so that's an excellent point to make. This guys, if you want to put in chat something else to be called, otherwise I'll just call you this guys. But if you have a name, I don't know it. I apologize. And then Josh is out of here. Josh, thanks for stopping by, man. You have been awesome. Some of just great suggestions on some of the things you'd like to see. And Chris, the consummate knowledge base as well, said Filoni might not even had a ton to do with the show. He's working on The Mandalorian during production of this show. So but as Bailey pointed out, that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. We don't know. So we'll see for sure. Sleeping. Thanks for stopping by. He has a Falcon to watch. An episode of the. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I was like, that's an interesting pet, but I see. Okay. Yeah. I was like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down, man.
Right.
That's not this channel. Yeah. Oh my God. But anyway, so wrapping it up, guys. We talked about predictions and fan theories, some stuff we already know. We did a really good job. Talking about the characters and dovetailing season 7 into the new show. Before I start winding us down, Brandon, did we miss anything? Is there anything else you think we need to get out there and let people know? And I'll talk about the show scheduling and stuff at the end.
Just give it a chance. Like, just have an open mind going into it. Obviously there are things that I think might happen, but if they don't, I'm not going to be upset about it. And I think going into it, find things that you can be excited about. Even if it's just a couple things each episode, find things that make you enjoy it. I have a hard time because, there are times where you look at something and you watch it and you care about it so much that you're like, oh, I wish they would have done it here. But when I first watched season 7 of the Clone Wars, I didn't like the Bad Batch right away because I was like, get to Anakin, get to Obi-Wan, get to characters that I care about. Now I've gone back and I've rewatched it and I'm like, yes, these characters are silly, but they have a place in this universe and they could tell a very good story with what we've got set up.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. Bailey, you want to final thoughts, advice? That was, by the way, Brandon, that was really good. I'm going to interrupt real quick, Bailey. Keep a positive. It's entertainment, and people get so serious about this, and they say horrible things, and we've all heard about the fandom. And at the end of the day, I can attest, my generation, at this point, as long as they just don't get ridiculously ridiculous, we're just happy to have Star Wars stuff because there was such a dry era in there for us. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go in with a positive outlook on this, Brandon. I'm not a huge animation fan, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just enjoy it for what it is. And I think that's good advice. Bailey?
Yeah, Brandon, I couldn't have said it better. I think, and that's what we're trying to do with this show is we want to give people an outlet where they're not hearing people say, no, Star Wars has to be exactly like this. That's not Star Wars. And if you like that, you suck. That's what we're trying to do with this show is we're trying to have a conversation about something, but we have an understanding that this is fictional. These aren't real people. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but it exists. And I think Brandon that's sage advice. Go into it with an open mind. Take it for what it is. And I think I want to say it was Ray Park, the guy who played Darth Maul, and he just said, you know what? The best way to go about Star Wars is there's so much involved. Whatever's canon to you is canon. And if you don't like something, you don't have to address it. You don't need to be mean about it. Just take it for what it is. And that's how I'm going to go into the show too. I was the same way with Brandon when the show was announced. I was like, I don't know about this. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? It's new Star Wars content. Like, how can you be upset about it? So we'll see what happens. It might be the next best show. Right.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I was worried that The Mandalorian was just going to be a tank. It was just, I was like, how are they going to follow one guy? And it's been the best thing, in my opinion, we've had since Rogue One. And so I'm going to keep an open mind as well. You guys are wise and sage as far as that's concerned. And I just wanted to really quick point out, Sean Solo stopped by. Sean lives in Yuma, Bailey. So he's right down. He's miserable right now too, because it's 110 degrees here. So wow. Gilster makes an excellent point. Positivity is powerful. The world is what you make of it. If you want it to be good, it'll be good. If not, then it'll suck. It's completely, like Bailey said, it's completely up to you. So let's talk about some logistics here. If I can get the, God, Bailey, I keep doing that. Sorry. It's because I love you. This is the icon that we'll be using for the show. It'll be hosted here on Paul's Collectibles. We are going to be every Saturday at 6 p.m. The next episode will obviously occur after the next episode of the Bad Batch Breakdown will obviously occur after the first 2 episodes of the Bad Batch, because there's one on May 4th and then there's one on, Brandon, what day is that?
The 7th.
The 7th. And there'll be a lot of material there. So that first Bad Batch episode breakdown or Bad Batch Breakdown might be a little longer, because we'll have a lot to hit and we'll be really excited and we'll have a lot we want to talk about. But here on Paul's Collectibles, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can go from there wherever else you live. It'll be me, Brandon, and Bailey in our custom Bad Batch shirts here. Breaking down each episode, keeping it positive, and trying to figure out what will be happening next. So keep an eye on that for my show. And I will end this with everybody that showed up in the comments tonight. At times we've had upwards of 20 viewers. We've still got 13 people here who are sticking it out with us. I'm flattered, and I'm blessed that we have this group of people that are willing to sit here and discuss this with us and give us some great comments. And if you're watching this on the rewind, I greatly appreciate it as well. We'll definitely try to stay on topic and not lose our minds going down a rabbit hole and make it interesting for everybody. So with that, we'll do this. We'll do the roundabout one more time here. Bailey, any last thoughts?
No, I'm so excited to do this show. Brandon and I can talk Star Wars all day. So I'm just so happy to have this platform to express my thoughts, because at home it's normally me just like, I live alone. So it's me like, you see that? And it's like, there's nobody here. This is great. And I really hope, that we bring some new Star Wars fans, and that we can show that, Star Wars fans aren't scary. I can tell you in real life, when people see my tattoo and whatnot, they're afraid, because it can be toxic. There are people who feel like they know Star Wars better than anyone else, but I'm just so excited to do this show. It's pure fun. And I just hope we make people laugh, and it's a good outlet for people.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm an idiot. I got you on the making people laugh thing for sure. Brandon, any last? What's that, baby? I'm sorry.
I bring the spunk.
Yes.
Table
slapping. Exactly. Brandon, any last thoughts before I transition us out of here, brother?
No, let's just, be good to people when it comes to this stuff. Watch it, figure out things that you like and you don't like. It's okay to air that stuff out there. Don't attack people who might think the opposite way. We're going to be here talking about the stuff that we love. This is Star Wars. We love it. Let's not make it hard on anybody else.
I wholeheartedly agree. One more time, I'll throw that up there and see if I can get it right, Bailey. I did it right that time. Look for that icon. Yeah. If you're not subscribed to Paul's Collectibles, this is the one and only time I'll ever say to subscribe to my channel, so that you can see this icon, and wherever that icon goes, Brandon and Bailey and I will follow. So it's been awesome, guys. I have enjoyed spending this time with you. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching on the rewind, you're all awesome. We love you at Paul's Collectibles and at Apprentice Ewok, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.
May the force be with you.